Hello and welcome to the Feedback Show. I'm Stephen Bradley.
And I'm Colin Bradley.
Welcome everyone. This is a bit different to our normal routine where we are usually side by side and you can usually see us on the webcam. However, this time we've not been able to get to each other in time to record this, so we're doing it over the internet.
Yeah. Well, it needs must, Steve. I mean, at the moment, you're very busy. I'm very busy. It's not easy sometimes to, bridge the gap, so to speak, and you come down, I come up, or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think, but I'm sure it still works the same way. They just don't see us. That's not a bad thing.
Exactly.
They're spared.
You spared us
smiling faces
this time. Yeah. How's it going, Dad? We've just said we're very busy.
It's going brilliantly. Yes, I've the last few pictures that I've been doing, I've really enjoyed it. Now I always enjoy it, as everybody knows, and you know, but the last few, what I've done is I've tested myself. I thought, I don't want to. Let's push the boat out a little bit more. So, if you think I pushed the boat far enough, folks, you're wrong. It's still a little way to go. And with these last ones, but of course, in doing so, it's given me a lot more challenge, and produced really good pictures. So I'm thrilled with it. Long may that continue, and I'm sure it will.
Yeah.
So I'm pleased.
Yeah, fabulous, absolutely fantastic. So we've got quite a few submissions this time on the Feedback Show, and let's kick off.
I'm looking forward to this actually. Yeah.
Let's kick off with number one from Michelle. Michelle sent us two pictures and she says, "Hi Steve and Colin, I've just read an article on your website about different papers. Although I'm still a member and loving watching tutorials, especially for advice on colour, I've been experimenting with pastel matte. For this reason, I've not sent any recent work for feedback. It's interesting to learn that although many people like to work from dark to light on this paper, I like to go from light to dark. The colour seems to mud up quickly the other way round. I've only completed 2 drawings on this paper and I'm interested to see what you think. The Beardy was my first attempt and the Yorkie the second. Thank you for your time. Kind regards, Michelle."
Right. Well, this is great because we've got another one coming up with Pastel Matte too. And the things I can talk to you about, I've used Pastel Matte myself, and I absolutely agree with Michelle. I would work from light to dark. Now, I know that, you're getting people saying, "Oh, no, you don't have to do it that way around. Pastel matte of course it does." The problem you've got is we're working with pastel pencils and not pastel. If you're working with soft pastel, which primarily this was designed for, then it doesn't matter. You can work from dark to light. But with pastel pencils, as you know, you've got to really, because it's more translucent, it hasn't got the pigmentation that soft pastel's got. Therefore, you need to work from light to dark. If you do it the other way around, you're going to ask for trouble. And that's what's happening here, as Michelle's found out. Anyway, I've got that off my chest. I'm not knocking pastel matte, as you say. I've done a couple of pictures on them and you'll be seeing them soon. And it's very successful, but I had to work the way Michelle was. Now, let's go on to the picture. I'm going to ask you to get your little gadget out, Steve, and I'm going to ask you to trim Michelle's picture.
Okay.
Now, you don't have to do this, Michelle. What I'm suggesting now, you don't have to do, right? If you framed it up and you're happy with it, let it go at that. But I'm going to show you how you can improve it.
Okay.
All right? So what I want you to do is go just into the top, just about. You want to keep as much of that as you can.
Into the top.
I would have, at the top of the picture. Yeah, I would. Yeah, that's fine. That's one. But I would have left that little top nut in the picture. You cut it off, but I'd have left that in. But anyway, you can't do that now. You can't put it on. You can't add it on. Come into the side, on the right-hand side, bring it in towards the animal. Not quite as much as that, so it just about coats, a bit more. Yep, that'll do fine. Great, well done.
Okay.
And the other side, now you've got to be a bit more drastic here. You've got to come right in. Yep, stop.
Okay.
Now, this is where we lose all the name. Come up, and I'll explain it to you in a minute why I'm going to do this, because I'm going to get you to take it back. A bit more. That's it. Okay. Now that is a better presentation. If you go back now to the other one, say just lose that and go back to the other, because people have seen what I would do. When you look at the paws, which is the paws, isn't it, on the animal?
Yeah.
It doesn't look like that. There's no representation of a paw there at all. Now, you can argue with me and say, well, there isn't on the original picture. No, there isn't. But as an artist, you have to do something about that. You can't just leave it like that. We know they're paws because they're at the other, the dog is laying down. But it doesn't look like that on your picture. If you look at the photograph, you can see the dog's laying down because you can see the back, you can see the side. You've got other reference points which shows you he's sitting down. But your picture doesn't show any of that. And quite rightly too, you've used artistic license. But to put that like a muff, that's the best description of it, on there, people will be confused. They'll say, what actually is that? Now, if in art, you can't do that. You can't leave people making their own mind up because they're going to get it wrong. You've done a beautiful job of it. It's a lovely picture. And if you were to do what I suggested earlier, go back to that other presentation, it would have been 10 times better. I hope you agree. If you don't, I'm really sorry. I may have messed it all up for you. But that's, you send these things for me, and not only for me, but for all the other members and all the other people that are looking at this. They want to see what I think. So there you are. Can we move on? Because it's a lovely picture. You've done a great job of it.
Yeah. So
now, the other little one is a sweetheart. That really is a sweetheart. Now, this is something where you've done really well. You've put a bit of shadow in there, which saves that.
It really does make a difference, doesn't it?
It's lovely. But if you've got your little thingy again, I'm going to just make that just a little bit better than that.
I just got to work my way around the cat. You see, the cat's on the desk at the moment, and she's just covering the mouse. Hold on, there we go. There you go. I got it. She wants to join in.
Come from the top and come down. When you're ready, Harley.
Okay.
And not as much as that. You're a bit drastic there. Yeah. That's all right. Yep, that'll be fine. It's just making it just a little bit, and then you come in on the right hand side, just a smidgen. It's just a touch, really, not very much at all. Yeah, that'll do. I'll tell you how you judge this, can I, Steve? If you look at the top of the ear, the left ear, where it points up, right up, and you look at the distance between that and the top of the picture that you've just done.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't say come in on the left or go up, did I? But you come up to the mount there, because that's perfect. That's all right, yep, and then come up a bit more. So it makes it, that's it, lovely. Now, so going back to what I was saying, you've got now, from the top of the ear to the top of the picture, you've got a distance.
Yeah.
We don't have to measure it, but there's a distance. To the side of the face and to the left-hand side, you've got another distance. Same with on the other side. Think of just the ear for the moment, not the piece of the top of the leg that's sticking out the back. And then the bottom, which is bottom paw, and you could probably drop that down and just a little smidgen more. Well, you couldn't. Yes, you can. Yeah, that's better. And that is perfect presentation now.
Okay.
And there's nothing wrong with it. It's absolutely wrong. I wouldn't question it at all.
Yeah. Okay, so it's just...
You've done a really nice job of that.
Yeah. Wonderful.
I can't fault it. I can't fault it. You've done really well.
Excellent. Well done, Michelle. There you go. That's that. I hope you're pleased with that, and I hope that's helped everyone else watching. Lovely, thanks. Okay, next one from Cheryl. I'm attaching a photo and the last drawing. This is my third attempt. I used the 230, 103 and 101, but it's starting to get muddy. I would love any advice that you could offer. I love your tutorials. So,
great. I hope you love what I'm going to say then. That's what I would do. Now this time, instead of going to the picture, Steve, I'd like you to go to the photograph. And I'd like you to do a bit of trimming. Come from the top down till I tell you to stop. Bit more, bit more, bit more, bit more, bit more, bit more, right, bit more, bit more, bit more. Stop. Oh, up a bit. Yep. Okay. Now from the bottom, go up. Yep. Stop. Great. Now from the left-hand side, come in just a little bit. So you keep the ear in a little bit. No, come a little bit. That's it. Perfect. And now the other side, just a little bit. Stop. That's fine. Now that is a better presentation than you've got, because you focus now on the two animals' heads, which is what you wanted to do. The trouble is here, what you've got is heads swimming around in nothing at all. You've got no reference there whatsoever. I would have liked to have seen, even though it's a pain, I would have liked to have seen all the hair at the back, because then you would have indicated the dogs are laying. And I would make it, I know it's pastel matte, and this is the problem you have here, because you're probably thinking, I don't need to do anything for the background. I just put the dogs' heads in. But you do, unfortunately. So you're going to have to do something with the foreground. With a pastel matte, you don't have to actually fill it all in. You can just make it quite light, really. Don't have to make it. And if you see the tile that the darker dog has got his nose on.
Yeah.
Well, that's the colour. I wouldn't try to emulate that pattern, but that's the colour would be really good. And that colour you could use. And I would also, by doing that, you could probably just put a little bit of shadow on. Where you've got a flash switch you've got there, that's a flash photographer. And how I know that is because there's no shadow under the animals at all. The flash has killed it off.
Yeah.
This is one of the biggest problems you have, unfortunately, with flash photography. That's why I wouldn't never use it. But still, nonetheless, you could have made it. I think when you look at it now, you could have made a beautiful job of that if you'd done it like I've showed you. Cutting his ear off. I know I've done it in the past, but in this case, it wouldn't have worked.
Okay.
And I would keep the references. I hope that helps you. But that's what I would do. There is one other little thing I would like to add here. If you were using a sand color paper here rather than the brown, that the color of the animals would have looked better. The actual color, because what's happening is the color that you put on there is picking up the undercolor of the paper. If you look at the certainly the lighter one more than the darker one, you can see the influence of that brown in the color you've applied. The ivory and the white and the ochre. And unfortunately, it doesn't work with light animals like that. So, but of course, I know why people do it, why you artists do it, because you think, oh, I don't need a background. I've got the color. I don't need to put it on. Sorry, in artwork, that won't hold water with me. You've got to work at something like that. So if you get an opportunity to do it again, I know you'd probably be, well, I don't want to do it again, thank you very much. But that would have been a better presentation, the presentation I've given you on the left.
There you go. That's interesting to see that.
That's what I would do.
Because that is a tricky pose to try and compose into a picture, isn't it?
But just like the one above, Steve, when we were talking about the grey, lovely grey dog above, you haven't got any reference points, you see? Go above a bit further up there. Go back a bit. You see, you've got no reference points, so you can't see what the dog is supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Therefore, that muff doesn't make any sense. Anyway,
there you go.
I hope that helps. I mean, the object of the exercise here is to teach people and say, what would you do, Colin, if you were me? And that's what I'd do.
Okay, excellent. Thanks, Cheryl. Moving away from feedback for a moment, this is a request that's come from Debbie that I thought we should take some time over. Debbie says, "Hi Colin and Steve, I want to do a pastel painting of a flower covered in ice and snow, and I'm not sure how to do the ice crystals. Could you give me some suggestions? Here are a few photos I got off the internet. I'm wanting to paint a flower that's very icy looking, maybe a mixture of some of these examples. I also bought some iridescent pastels, white, carmine and cobalt blue, Sennelier is that Sennelier? It makes
right.
them in a stick. I thought these colours would help to give the ice/snow some shimmer.
Yes, but if you're going to use pastel pencils as a rule, if you are going to do it in pastel pencil, you have to put the ice on first. That's the critical thing. All that snow and that ice, however laborious you might think it might be, you've got to put it on first. And then you put all the dark colours into it. Gosh, that's hard, you say? Of course it is. You don't expect it to be easy. Okay, that's the alternative. Put the red on. Imagine you've done all the red now. You've done a really good job. You've made all the red. Now you're going to put the white on top. Won't work. It certainly won't work in pastel pencil, and you'd be really hard pressed to make it work in soft pastel too. Probably could get away with it if you did it on pastel mat, because pastel mat will accept that. But pastel pencils, it won't work. You've got to do it. You've got to, anything like that, any snow or ice or frost, that's got to go on first. Because if it doesn't, you're going to get muddy, and it's going to be a muddy mess. Now, if you look at the rose, which is the one I like most, is the one on the right-hand corner, top right. Now, if you look at that, you can see, and this is where you could argue with me, say, hang on, Colin, I can just see the pink coming through the white. See what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes, you can, but you don't put it underneath, you put it on top.
Yes.
So imagine that you put all that white on. Now you want a little bit of influence. So what you would do, it's very simple with a colour shaper. You dip your colour shaper into one of the red areas, and then you dip it in and you put it in as you see it there, and it'll look great.
Gives it a real subtle colour.
Yeah. That's exactly. It's subtle, yes. That's the way to do it. And it would work with all of them. The one in the middle I don't like at all. There's no contrast there. And I don't like the one on the top left. Don't like that either. You see, the problem is, even if you made a really first-class job of it, it's meaningless. It doesn't have any design there. Whereas the rose does, and the one on the bottom left, that's got a design. But the one on the top right, you can actually see that it is a rose.
Yeah.
And you could even put the colours, even the background colour on that is nice if you were to work the background colours out. I hope that helps, but there's no other way you can do it, not with pastel pencil. But even if you use pastel mat, I'd still do it the same way.
Yeah. That's interesting. I think that's the first time we've had this kind of request of an icy flower.
Yeah,
yeah. Interesting to see how you do it.
The thing is, Steve, there is with pastel pencils there is an answer. There's always an answer, but sometimes it means you've got to work hard, a little harder. Other thing you've got to remember too, whenever you're doing any kind of artwork, you've got artistic license. So you don't have to put that in detail by detail. It doesn't have to be exactly the same as that.
Excellent.
So there's a little bit of artistic license there.
Brilliant. Thanks, Debbie. That's a really good question, and thanks for sending over the pictures and sending it in. I hope that's helped both you and others watching.
I'm sure it has.
Okay, the next one's from Sue. Hi Steve, I've been a member for a few months now, and I can't begin to tell you the difference that following your dad's videos has made to my drawings. They have improved so much that people actually want to pay me for them now, so please give my thanks to your dad. The reason I'm emailing is for help and advice. My friend has recently asked if I would draw his dog Chester as a present for his wife at Christmas. I've drawn Chester before, so I had no worries about saying yes, but the photo he has sent me is of Chester after he's had a swim, and I'm worried about creating that wet fur look. Also, he is standing in a stream, and even though I'm intending to zoom in mostly on the dog without too much background, I would still need to create the effect of water, and this is something that I've never done before with pastel pencils. Any advice or pointers that you could give me regarding creating both the wet fur look and the watery background would be very much appreciated. Thanks so much, Sue.
Yes, now this you're gonna love me for this, because I'm really going to make you work for this. There's no answer to it. You remember going back to the dogs, the two dogs we've had before, I've said you need to have some reference points, otherwise it doesn't make sense. If you closed in on that dog, right in on the dog, and just put a foggy background, they'd say, why is it why is all the fur stuck together? So what we've got to do is we've got to put him in the string. So I'll get you to get your pointer again, Steve, and go from the top and stop when I say stop. Stop. You're going to love me for this one, I tell you. At the top, at the bottom, go up, and I'll tell you when to stop. Stop. No, down a little bit more. That's it. Now, the important one. On the left-hand side, come in. Stop. Just a little, go back out a little bit. Out a little bit. Sorry, Steve. Out a little bit more. A little bit more. A little bit more. Yep. That's it. Right. That's it. Lovely. Now, what's the problem? All those rocks, all that grass, but most of all, you've got the water.
Yeah.
Now, the water tells you what's happened to the dog. Of course, you leave the foot in, and of course, you leave the train in. Not blooming like you do. You get rid of the foot, make it just completely.
Yeah.
That's why I've asked you to do that, because I would like you to do that as I've shown you there, but get rid of the foot.
Right.
Just carry on the rocks. You should be easy. If by the time you get to there, you'll know how to do rocks. And the other thing I'd like you to do is lose the chain on the left-hand side, on the right-hand side.
Mm.
The lead. It's the lead, isn't it?
Yeah.
Lose that. That would be a smashing picture.
Doesn't look easy.
Without doubt. It's not going to be easy, but it's going to be fabulous. But what you've got then, you see, you've got the reason why the dog is wet. You can see it.
Yeah.
And again, use a bit of artistic license on the rocks. Try when you do the water, just a little tip. There's quite a lot of water I've done recently. Put it in light grey. Just do the whole of the water in the light grey, and then you can put colour into it using the colour shaper. A little bit of brown, a little bit. Make it look like that, and it will look like that. You've got a reflection in the water at the bottom for the dog, which will be dark. It wouldn't be because it's a dark picture or a dark area there. It wouldn't reflect the richness of the fur, but it would look great. It's absolutely delightful, and that would, to be honest with you, I'd like to do that. I really would. I'd really enjoy doing that. Okay, now what about the other thing? Is how do you do a wet dog? Now, how would you think you would do it, folks? You see, if he was nice and fluffy and had just been coming out of a showroom, he'd have all his individual fur, wouldn't he? It would all be fluffy and it would look lovely. Unfortunately, when you go into water, everything mats together. Well, all you do is just mat it together. It's simple. I've done a picture that you'll be seeing in time. It's a little while off, but you'll get it. And that is an animal that's come out the water. So I don't suppose you'll hang on for that. But what I did with that, I had to think, oh, right, all that fur is matted together. Therefore, you can't make it fluffy, if you see what I mean. I hope you understand what I'm saying there. It's got to be... what would be the word you would use when you put all those hairs together? If you imagine a hair on the top of the head, go for the top, the brown on the top of the head. The white's not so bad, but the brown on the top of the head, top of the ear, you can see that. Now, if that was fur, you'd fluff it up, wouldn't you? You'd make it all fluffy. But instead of that, you use a colour shaper and you mat it together, using it, bearing in mind that anything that gets wet is darker.
You've got like dark lines in there, haven't you?
That's right. So you actually follow all of those rules. I bet you'd be really surprised how well that would come out.
Wow.
Now that is a stunning picture. It looks great. Ordinarily, I would say to people, as I did to you over the weekend, Steve, try to get down level with the animal, because I don't really like looking down on an animal. But that's not so bad, because you're actually giving a very good story, a storyline to the animal as well. But as I say, you're going to love me because I'm telling you to do all those rocks. What's the alternative? If you do the dog as you want it, all wet, and then you put a nice, one of my usual fluffy backgrounds on there, there's going to be no story there. People are going to say, well, why is he all matted together then? You see what I mean? You're deceiving people.
Yeah.
By doing that, you're being honest. You're saying, this is, okay, I'm not brilliant at rocks, but, you know.
You will be by the end of that.
You would be. You'll be a master at that. But it's lovely. I love a little bit of grass as well, all that colour. It's really, really nice. But I'd do it. Yeah, I was just going to say, we've got... I've done a few pictures that you will see eventually, folks, that's got similar kind of tones to this. Not the dog, I'm talking the background.
Yeah.
This is where, of course, Steve, you know, we're talking about people moving on to landscape. Some people do just animals and stick to animals all the time, and they never go into landscape work. And when I used to have my classes, I used to tell people, why don't you try landscape? Because when you come back to doing your animals, you'll learn some new techniques. And this is typical of what would happen. If you had tried landscape work, you'd understand how to do the grass and how to do the rocks and how to do brickwork and water and this sort of thing. So therefore, you could combine your skills at landscape and your skills at animal work together. So I would encourage people to do that. You know I've said it before, and I'm sure I get... And I can understand your viewpoint. Yeah, but I just want to do animals. That's all I want to do. Animals. I don't want to do landscape. But as a true artist, you really need to find different ways of expressing your artwork. And by doing landscape and animals, then you get that. You'll reach that. Only when you want to. I mean, a lot of times, see, you know, a foggy background will work, but it won't work, and you know why it won't work, because we've got a pour in it. As soon as you put a pour in, you've got to ground him.
Yeah.
And if you ground him, what do you ground him on?
Not a carpet.
No, I don't think the owner would be very happy. Have a wet dog like that, or muddy dog on his nice carpet. No, you see what I mean? But you're quite right. You can't. You've got to. As soon as you put a pour in, you've got to do a background of similar.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, and another argument would be, well, couldn't we just do grass? You know, I've done many animals where I've got foreground with grass and then grass going back. But where's the story then? Why have you got a wet dog on grass that's not wet? It doesn't tie together. Your fault? No, I'm sorry. Who is it? It's your friend's fault for asking you to do such a difficult picture. Blame her for it. You can actually go back to her and say, do you know what my tutor has told me? Do you realise what you're going to put me through? And if you want to do it, I should get started, because it's for Christmas, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's going to take you a while.
I hope that's helped, Sue. I think you're up for a challenge there.
Worst comes to the worst, Sue, you can close in a bit more. Shall we just do a final touch there? Closing on the bottom, Steve, up a bit. I wouldn't do this, Sue, but I'm telling you, if you think, I can't do this, come down from the top a little bit, losing some of the rocks. No, that's all right. The top, that's it. That's it. Now, lose the boot. There you are. Now, if you're chicken, do that. Still works.
This gives you a little less rocks and a little less water.
You're saving yourself a couple of weeks' work there. Anyway, I hope that helps. It's been a bit of fun. But there you go. There's my answer.
Lovely. Okay, moving on to the last request for today. Again, people needing help with their future projects this week. This one's from Dorota. Hello, Steve. I recently contacted you referring to the fact that I had submitted a couple of pictures into our local hospice, and a member of the staff at the hospice asked if I could do a pet portrait of a bloodhound. I asked if Colin would be kind enough to offer some hints and tips. Attached are 5 pictures of bloodhounds. 4 are of the lady's bloodhound, called Henry. The one with the blue sky background is the style that I would like to do. This picture is not the lady's dog. I am pretty sure that the picture of the full face one of Henry by the Christmas tree would be the lady's choice. Any help would be greatly received.
Hard, isn't it? You see, none of them really are brilliant. And this is where you have a problem. when you have pictures that people think they're great, but as an artist you think, oh, I don't know, it's not working. And I agree with you, the one by the Christmas tree is probably the best one. I wouldn't put the Christmas tree in, lose the bauble and so on. And that could go. What you could do though, could you? Yes, I think you probably could. If you were to use the one in the middle, that's the one by the Christmas tree, use that picture. You've got the one at the bottom there, the professional photograph, has got a much better neck. You see where that neck is?
Yeah.
And you could kind of work that neck under the body if you're clever.
Try and combine the two pictures together.
I do all the time. I combine sometimes 3 pictures together. It's not going to be easy because you've got to, but it's better to have a bit of neck. You see what I mean? We can't do anything with the one that you're suggesting doing, but I can do something with the other one. If you come to the other one, Steve, the professional one, and let's trim that a little bit, and I'll give you some idea of how you can do it. Come down a little bit more. That's it. That's lovely. And now come from the right-hand side in a little bit. Yep. And the left-hand side a little bit. Yep. Now you can come up a little bit, but you don't want to come up too. That's it. You've got to give a reasonable amount of neck. Now that would be nice. So if you could put the body that you've got at the bottom there, the bottom half underneath his ears, to your top one, you know what I mean? It would work. You know, the one in the middle, it would work. Oh, hey, that's clever.
I'm just messing around here.
But you see what I mean? You see the idea? I mean, it's not bad, is it? Quite it right, but it's got a little work to do there, folks.
You can flip it around and all sorts.
You don't have to do this. I mean, if you're in any doubt about it, then don't do it. However, I've got to tell you that if it was me doing it, I wouldn't do that one. I would do the one on the left-hand side of that photograph.
Will you do this one?
One where he's looking up. No,
this
down one. That's him. That's the one I would do.
The whole lot, or just the face?
No, just no. Well, you could do the whole lot if you want. I mean, if you want a major problem, there, Steve knows what I'm going to ask him to do. You see, that's a better picture. Blow it up. That's it, Steve. That's it. Because you can see all the neck. You don't have to make anything up. The eyes are fairly straightforward. You don't have. You can almost follow the eye that you can see there.
Mm.
You see what I mean? So that would be my choice if it was me doing it.
Okay.
But I'm going to leave it to you, Dorota. You're the artist. But I've got to say, Steve was absolutely right when he said, what, the whole dog? Yeah, you could do the whole dog. It's a bit... The thing about doing the whole dog, you don't have to work quite so hard on the head.
Mm.
You see what I mean? If you focus in on the head, you've got to make that really come alive with every detail. Where if you do a whole dog, you've got a lovely picture to do it with. And there again, you can put it on you can put him in a field. You can do anything with it. I've done quite a few pictures where we put it in grass. Or any background, but that would be a much better picture. In fact, I think probably that's what I would do if it was me doing it, because I wouldn't have to work quite so hard on the face, and I could give a really good representation of the body. I mean, the pose is lovely. I love the idea of him looking up like that, very snooty. Look at me, I'm a bloodhound, you know. What?
Lovely. Excellent. Well, thanks, Dorota. I hope that's helped. Yeah. Lovely. Excellent. Well, that's all the submissions.
A mixed bunch, isn't it,
yeah, a real mixture this week. I hope everyone's found that helpful. As always, members of our website can submit their pieces of artwork for feedback, or again, like you've seen today, pictures that you're wishing to do that you need some advice on. Then you can email those over to us. The only requirement is that you have to be a member of any one of our plans. And to learn more about that, you can go to colinbradleyart.com and click the sign up button along the top and look at all of our content that we have inside our membership. Excellent. So we'll be back next time. We'll get some more submissions in and do another show, possibly in person, if you're lucky. You'll see us. If not, if we can't do it, we'll be like this again. So hit a thumbs up if you've enjoyed the show, or hit a like button if you found it helpful, and we'll see you next time. So thanks everyone for watching. I'm Stephen Bradley.
And I'm Colin Bradley.
Bye for now.